Welcome to the Katie Wellness Show, where you get the tools, knowledge, and inspiration you need to transform your health and wellness, body, mind, and spirit. You'll learn holistic and practical wellness strategies that empower you to reclaim your health and fully step into your power. You belong here as you learn to tap into your intuition to support your body every step of the way. Let go of what's no longer serving you and teach these tools and strategies to your family to raise emotionally and physically resilient children. Welcome back to this week's episode. I had the idea for this podcast at 11:30 at night, one of those nights when I was just laying awake. There was a lot running through my head and I was unable to sleep. Normally, I try and stay off my phone late at night, but I've learned through experience that if I don't write it down, I will forget. As much as I think it's a really good idea and I'm never going to forget, usually by morning it's gone. So pulled my phone out, took some notes. This week's episode is where I share some of the alternative healing modalities that I've tried. I'm going to share what they are and I'm going to rate them on a scale from 1 to 10, we'll say. And also share with you some that I am interested to try. I am very much open to trying new modalities. One, just to see how they work for me and my body, and also so I can know what types of healing modalities are available that I can recommend to my clients during emotional processing sessions or through hair scan consultations. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Therapies that I've tried. Number one, colon hydrotherapy, or a colonics, it's sometimes called. Basically, this is a cleansing of the colon. There is a tube that is inserted through the anus that fills the colon with water and then flushes it out and fills it and flushes it and fills it and flushes it. I've seen a lot more on Instagram lately of people sharing their colon hydrotherapy or colonics journeys and what passes through their bodies. And this is a great way to get parasites out. It's a great way to kind of kickstart your digestive system if you have a lot of constipation issues. And when I go to Mexico, this is one of the therapies that I do at least once while I'm there. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I would recommend this probably a 9. It is a little bit uncomfortable. It is a little bit weird. It's one of those things that we don't really want to talk about. But I'm talking about it because I like them. I like the benefits of them. I will say this, they are not for everyone. I've known people who get them and lose control of their bowels for a day or two, or just while the body continues to flush out that garbage. And if you are someone who really likes to hold on to things in life in general, this is a really great exercise to help let go. It kind of forces you to let go, because the more that you hold on, the more uncomfortable it is and the more painful it is. I know with colon hydrotherapies that I've done in the past, I've done some that are self-administrative, to where it's fully set up in a bed almost, but it collects it, just so when the practitioner comes in after, they can just make sure that, if there were parasites that were passed, they can just help you be aware of it. And I've also seen it administered where there is a clinician there, making sure that the valve is turned on at the right times and turned off at the right times. Some things that are really uncomfortable is as during those times that I have released parasites, I did get nauseous and dizzy. And so those, just be aware that those are things that can happen during a colon hydrotherapy. Second, stem cells. I've seen a lot more of stem cells coming in capsules, which I think is really cool. The stem cells that I get are from the clinic that I go to in Mexico. And the very first time I got the stem cell injections. So the very first ones I got were in my neck. And this was in 2017. I had been unable to move my neck from left to right for probably about 2 months, maybe 3 months. And it was one of those where if I needed to look left or right, I had to move from my trunk, from my stomach. I had to move left to right or physically like step my feet so I could look left to right. So my driving was limited. Um, what I was able to do, like taking care of my 3 young kids. When I first got those shots in my neck, within 10 minutes, I was able to look 45 degrees, at least 45 degrees in both directions. So my range of motion within 10 minutes after getting that was, my husband said, if I wouldn't have been there, I would not have believed that that was possible or that that really happened. It truly was a miracle for me in that moment. And I want to do a future episode on stem cell therapy and go deeper on how it works. But I do know that the stem cells provide healthy cells for your body to um, have good, healthy cells to regenerate from. So it helps with inflammation, which is a big part of what my neck situation going on, that was a big part of it. It was inflammation. My muscles were just so tight. The inflammation was horrible in my body during that time. So um, yeah, that was a truly amazing experience. And if you are someone who deals with chronic inflammation, I would highly recommend finding someone near you, or I can give you recommendations for the clinic that I go to in Mexico. I cannot speak more highly of Bio Advanced Medical and the work that they've been able, the improvement in my health and my overall well-being that they have given me. Cannot recommend them enough. Third therapy that I've tried is a float tank. Basically, it's a big pod that you get into. It is full of magnesium and water. So it's similar to salt water, but even more magnesium. So the idea is that you go float in this tank, this pod of water for an hour, I think is what I did. And the magnesium boosts your, it's absorbed in through your skin. So it helps relax you. It helps create a space of calm in your body. And oh, I forgot, I haven't been rating these. So back to the stem cells, I would give that 10 out of 10, hands down. I think many people can benefit from them. And from talking with the people at the clinic in Mexico, many people have benefited from them. But again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying that this is right for everyone. You have to do your own research. You have to be your own health advocate. But we all have aches and pains. We all have inflammation. We all have imbalances in our body that I feel like the stem cells can help with that. Okay, so to the float tank. It is a pretty big time commitment. Not only do you have to drive to a clinic, this isn't something that you can do at home because the clinic that I went to, they used 1,000 pounds of magnesium. That sounds really, that's the number that's sticking to my head, but maybe I'll have to go back into my Instagram. I know that I've posted about doing float tanks on my Instagram. So if you want to learn more about that and my experience specifically. But because the float tank takes a long time, you have to drive to the clinic. You're in for an hour and then you get out and you shower. It was like a 2-hour time commitment for me. And even though the clinic was only 15 or 20 minutes away, I felt like that was a big time commitment for one therapy. So I rate this like a 7 out of 10. I liked it. It was good for me to slow down. which is something that I have a difficult time doing, getting out of that feeling like I have to be productive all the time mode. So it did have some benefits, but not night and day, not like the hype. It didn't meet my expectations of what I thought. Like I thought I was just going to sleep like a baby, which I didn't really notice a difference in my sleep. Fourth one, foot zones. I love foot zones, and every practitioner does it different. So what a foot zone is, it is a so you use a practitioner, you go to someone who does reflexology or foot zoning, and they use pressure points in your feet to loosen up the flow of energy in your body. And I'm hoping to do an interview with my foot zoner in the coming weeks or months. Hopefully one day we'll make it happen. So she can explain more in depth the science behind it. But basically, it's this idea that we have nerve endings in our feet that connect to different systems within our body. And as we rub or stimulate those different areas, it can break up blockages, stuck energy in those areas, to help energy flow throughout your body better, to help you sleep better, to decrease inflammation and pain. And the foot zoner that I go to, I have not found one in California near where I live, but the one that I go to in Utah every time I'm there, she also has a degree in psychology. So our visits are also like a therapy session, like a talk therapy session, which I love, love, love. So foot zoning, recommend 10 out of 10. Fifth, foot bath detox. So this is where you put your feet in a bath of salt water, and there's an electrode in it that draws toxins out through your feet. And this is a therapy that they do at the clinic that I go to in Mexico, but I've also done it other places as well. They have units that you can buy at home. So this is a therapy that you can do at home, which in my mind gives it more stars, more points toward liking it or not liking it. But the foot bath detox, I think, is so fascinating. The toxins that get drawn through your feet are indicators of what your body is detoxing. So like black flecks can be heavy metals. And if you've ever seen a picture of a foot bath after someone has detoxed, there can be like yellow cottage cheesy on top. Like it's really gross and also really satisfying to see all of the stuff that's coming out of your body. Foot bath detox, I would rate like 9 out of 10. They're very relaxing. And it also, again, depends on whether you're doing it with like a practitioner, or if you're doing it at home. In Mexico, they after the foot bath, they wash my feet and then they do an exfoliating scrub and then they wash it again. And it's just my favorite. So the ones that I get in Mexico would be a 10 out of 10. The ones that I've had other places, maybe a 9 out of 10. This is not sponsored. I will say this is not sponsored by the clinic in Mexico. I really love how they do things there. And it was kind of my first introduction to alternative therapies and alternative medicine. So it does have a really special place in my heart. All right, next would be cranial sacral. So this is an energy modality or an energy shifting modality. And I did a 10 priority test, which is just a way of asking the body, of these 10 different priorities, what does my body need the most? And it's using muscle testing, but the muscle testing for that 10 priority test said that I needed a cranial sacral therapy. And I need to research more about this specifically and how it works. But I went to a lady in Poway, California, which is near where I live. and just it was out of her house. So this one I feel like does require a practitioner, and I was expecting it to be, because of my expectations, I'll rate it lower. I was expecting it to be this great energy release, that I was going to notice different benefits or improved benefits compared to integrative processing technique or emotional processing, which is something, for some reason, my recording stopped. So we're jumping back in with cranial sacral. My expectations were that I was going to notice different effects or enhanced effects um, from doing the cranial sacral uh, therapy, and I didn't. So I would probably rate this one like a 6 out of 10. I didn't have a super great experience with it. I went in thinking I was I think it's just managing my own expectations, right? And doing more of the research beforehand with that one. Next is exercise with oxygen. So I went to a clinic in Idaho that um, does similar therapies to the one in Mexico. And for one of the therapies that they had there, I was on a pedal bike, like a stationary bike with an oxygen mask on. And I was breathing it in while I was exercising, trying to keep my heart rate within a certain range, trying to breathe in and out. And this one was okay. Definitely not my favorite, something that's harder to do at home unless you can get like a doctor's note to get an oxygen tank. I'm not really sure how those work, but I think the idea of it is amazing, because the more oxygenated, the more oxygen that we have in our bodies, the less free radicals that we have, which means less damage to our cells. So it's harder for bacteria and viruses and all of those icky things to thrive in a high oxygen environment. So the idea behind it is really cool. I felt suffocated by the mask on my face while I was trying to breathe hard. So it wasn't my favorite experience, but I'd still probably give it an 8 out of 10. Laser therapy. So it was my 34th birthday, and I was having the most severe back pain that I've ever had in my life. Could not stand up straight, and it was partly inflammation, but also discovering that I have 2 bulge discs in my back, likely from my epidural that I had with one of my babies. So that's I guess never been confirmed. That's just my own theory and my own impressions and my own thoughts. Just be aware what you're signing on to. But with the laser red light therapy, so there was a lady here who had it kind of was like a pen laser, um, clinical quality. So this wasn't something that I did at home. But the idea is that the red light penetrates deeper to stimulate mitochondria function, to decrease inflammation, to help the body heal, to help bring out the inflammation, right? Um, After I did that therapy with her, and I had a couple of massages too to just try and help the muscles around it loosen up so I could stand up straight. um, I I really liked the laser therapy or the red light therapy. It was only maybe a 10 or 15-minute session, so very short. It did require a practitioner, but I would give that probably a 10 out of 10 because of the effects that I felt from it within like that day. I felt significantly better. And then after the massage, which was a couple days later, it felt so much better. So 9 or 10 out of 10 is what I would rate that one. I've also tried a palm scanner or a Zyto scanner, which is kind of like a pad that you put your hand on. It sends electro frequencies through your body to, I guess this is how I understand it. It sends a electrical information through your body and collects information about what systems within your body are working, what systems are not working, are there nutritional imbalances. In my mind, now that I know about hair scan technology, it's very similar to that. And during the palm scanner that I did, that one was also at the clinic in Idaho. Um, I learned that at some point I had broken my tailbone, which makes sense. I was in drill team in high school, and I've had two babies naturally. So, I mean, that checks out, and it makes sense because I sometimes get pain in my tailbone area when I sit too long. So, I mean, there was nothing really that they could do about that, but they also, I just remember the doctor who I was meeting with, who was reading the scan, just kept saying, "Oh, you're in a lot of pain, aren't you? Oh, you must be in so much pain." And I just thought, I'm actually not in that much pain. Why do you keep saying that? And I don't know if it's just I have a high pain tolerance, or um I had enough emotional weight that I was carrying that I had learned to block the pain, because I know that that can be a trauma response sometimes. Um, so yeah, the palm scanner was okay. But I didn't get like a report. I didn't get to see any of the information from the scan. He recommended therapies that I do at the clinic. Um, which was fine, but I like the data. I like to see what it says. And again, this is something that you would have to do regularly or often to follow up on, to see how your body is changing or not changing, and to see how you can continue to support your body, similar to the hair scans that I do. So the palm scanner, if I were to choose between the palm scanner and the hair scans, I would go the hair scans. One, because I can see the information, but also I am not 100. Because I guess because I have more experience with the hair scans, I know that that information is so accurate that I trust it more. So if you have more experience with the palm scanner, I would be really interested to chat with you. So reach out to me on Instagram, send me a DM, let's connect, and let's have a conversation. I would be so interested to hear your experiences with it as well. Other therapies that I've tried. Oh, so palm scanner, I'd probably recommend that like a 6 out of 10. Next one is magnetics. So this is a balancing of the body's polarity, is the way that it was kind of described to me, that we have negative and positive ions throughout our body. And as we, the practitioner that I went to used muscle testing to know where to put the magnets, where I needed more energy, where I needed less energy. And she was able to work with me from there. She was able to place the magnets in the right spots to help that balance within my body. That one zaps my energy. Anytime I have the magnetics done or the magnetic therapy, I get really, really tired. So I notice benefits. I'd probably give that one an 8 out of 10. That's one that they do in Mexico, and it's not one I do every single time, but when I feel like um, I'm having more bacterial or buggy things like gut issues and stuff, I will do that one. Okay, next one is an ozone sauna. I have a sauna in my home, and I also have an ozone bubbler in my home, and this is one that I do at home, and I love it. I need to do it more. The benefits of the ozone sauna is that the infrared sauna, heats up your body, which opens your pores. The ozone enters in through those pores and adds oxygen to your body. Well, it adds ozone, but then ozone is kind of an unstable gas, so it will split and try and find something to bind to, like the free radicals that are just causing a lot of cell damage. So I really like this one for oxygenating the body, which reduces inflammation, which helps create an environment within your body where it doesn't, it's harder for bugs, bacteria, viruses to thrive. Same with ozone insufflation. So this is putting ozone through a bag or through a tube into your colon. Again, entering through the anus, it introduces oxygen to your body, to your colon. There can often be a lot of damage done to the colon when we are holding on to things, or that's where a lot of toxins can be reabsorbed into our body if our liver is having a hard time flushing through. So both of these therapies, the ozone sauna and the ozone insufflation, both of those I've done at the clinic in Mexico. The ozone sauna I have set up to where I can do it at home. I use the Therasage personal sauna. So my head sticks out of the sauna, so I'm not breathing in the ozone specifically. And that's how the ozone sauna is set up at the clinic in Mexico as well. And I would rate both of those 10 out of 10. Again, there can be some side effects, especially with the ozone insufflation. It's kind of uncomfortable. It's gross or weird to talk about. But I notice benefits from it. I have higher energy, less inflammation with the ozone insufflation. There's less bloating, more consistent bowel movements. So there's some benefits there. Both of those I would recommend 10 out of 10. Next one is integrative processing technique or emotional processing. So I've done traditional therapy sessions before, like talk therapy sessions, and some of those I just went away with like, why did I just waste an hour of my time talking to you? I don't feel any better. Yeah, you gave me these tools, but I need something in the moment to help me get rid of some of this anger or resentment or frustration or annoyance. With integrative processing technique, after a session, I feel better. Like the weight has been lifted. Like I can start to see a different way to show up. I can start to see how the ways that I have been showing up were not working anymore. And it could be little things, right? Like losing my temper on my kids more often than I want. Now I can start to see, oh, I'm getting mad because it's more about me and feeling out of control than it is about my kids. And it helps with big things like feeling resentment for something that happened years and years ago, or like having a hard time forgiving someone for something, or having low self-confidence from years and years of my own thoughts teaching me that I'm not good enough, or that I have to be productive in order to be worthy. It gives me insight moving forward. And it also leaves me feeling peaceful. Almost all the time. There have been one or two that the things that I was working through maybe needed a second session in order to fully work out and release. But I've noticed physical benefits like increased bowel movements and better sleeping and fewer headaches. I've noticed physical benefits from processing, but I've also noticed emotional benefits like feeling more at peace, feeling less angry and resentful, and not feeling like I have to hold everyone and everything together, feeling like it's not my job to make sure that everyone's happy and that everyone's needs are met all the time. Integrative processing technique, or IPT, is something that I 100%, like 12 out of 10, 15 out of 10 recommend, because we all carry coping mechanisms that are not working. And even if you've been to therapy for years and years and years and years, there are still things in our past that we carry into the future. The weight of emotions, and it clouds our thinking. And it's okay to release that. It's okay to address those things that caused our poor coping skills or our poor coping mechanisms. It's okay to get rid of those and to find a new way. So, integrative processing technique, I 100% recommend. I've also done sound baths, and I 10 out of 10 recommend these. It is, I want to get my own sound bowls to be able to play, but if you ever play your music really loud and you notice the vibrations kind of interacting with your body, our bodies are very energetic. This is kind of what a sound bath is. So you lay, typically, you sit or you lay in a relaxed position, and you listen to a I don't know what they would be called, like a sound bath healer or someone who plays the sound bowls or the crystal bowls. They play the bowls, and what that does is it creates vibrations in the air that interact with your body and help to bring balance. I don't know like the technical terms. I just know that after I do a sound bath, I feel so much better. Like my energy is better. My mental clarity is better. Sound baths, I love. I 10 out of 10 recommend. And yeah. Next one is acupuncture. So I was having a really bad allergic reaction, just seasonal allergies, and I did acupuncture to try and help alleviate some of that. I did it in a group acupuncture setting. Basically, if you want acupuncture, you show up and they put 2 or 3, maybe 5 or 6 pins in you, or like the acupuncture needles. And then you sit there for 5 or 10 minutes and then you're done. The thing that I didn't like about this setup was that I didn't get to talk with the doctor about what was bothering me. They just kind of did muscle testing to know where to put it, and they put it in and then they were done. And then I just sat there for 10 or 15 minutes and listened to people around me talk. So it did help. It did help my allergies clear up while I was using the acupuncture, like while the needles were inserted. But it wasn't long lasting. So I would be interested to try this one again before I really give it a rating. Okay, another machine that I've used, or another therapy that I've used, is the Hocket or the HOCAT, HOCATT. And it is a chamber that you put yourself in, kind of like a sauna, but your head sticks out. You hold on to 2 electrodes, and during the Hocket session, the chamber filled up with warm air and steam. Again, so it's opening my pores, it's helping relax my body. So I really liked that. And then the electrodes send pulses through my body to help balance different sections. So this is an energy one, it's a relaxation one. I really liked my Hocket session. Again, it does require a practitioner or a clinic who has one, or it's a pretty big financial investment to do for yourself, in my opinion. So this is, I would recommend it, probably an 8 or a 9 out of 10. I really liked it. I noticed benefits from it. It was relaxing. I need to do more research on all of that. All right. And I'm curious if you've heard of any of these ones that I want to try, or I'm curious if you have tried them. They are getting more popular. But these are ones that I have not tried yet, but that I want to try. And the first one is EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization. training. I can't remember what the R stands for. Basically, it is a session that you do with a practitioner where a trauma is brought up. And then you use bilateral stimulation, so getting both sides of the brain engaged. So this could be like looking left to right, or this could be tapping with hands left and right. And it allows your brain to rewire the trigger, not necessarily the memory, but just the emotions that are brought up when you think about that memory. And it tries to give you more helpful. It allows space for your brain to figure out a new way, new coping mechanisms. From what I understand, the results are similar to that of an emotional processing session. So I'd be interested to try that. Another one I want to try is Cambo or Combo. I've heard it pronounced both ways, but it is where you put frog secretions on your skin and it makes you sick to where you are throwing up. I've heard that it is a very emotional cleansing as well as a physical cleansing therapy. And it's just one of those that I want to try. Like, it seems really interesting and fascinating. And there is people that I know personally who do it that I'm like, yeah, I want to try it. I want to see if that's a good therapy for me, or if it's good for other clients that I work with. Another one that I want to try is a hyperbaric chamber. Again, this is kind of like the ozone sauna or the ozone therapy or the ozone IV, to where you are flooding your body with oxygen, creating that environment within your body to not grow bacteria, to basically give your cells, your body, healthy things to use to create new cells. And the last one that I want to try is cupping. I deal a lot with chronic inflammation and chronic pain, and this is one that I want to try to see if it can provide relief for me. So let me know. Let me know which ones you've tried, which ones are new to you. Like, I would be so interested to know what your experience, good or bad, with any of these therapies, and see how you rate them. So find me on Instagram. My link is in the description box below, and let's connect. Thanks for joining me this week. I hope you enjoyed listening to this, my own personal rating of alternative healing modalities. And it may not be for you, but if you are looking for ways to manage pain and symptoms and reduce pain symptoms, whether they be mental or physical, um, these are some that I've tried, and I know they are not the only ways, but they are just ones that I've tried. So I'd be so interested to connect with you. If you want to get on my email list, you can get exclusive information that I only send to my email subscribers. You can get a free anti-inflammation guide in the description box below, and that signs you up for my email list. And about once a week, maybe every 2 weeks, if I'm not as consistent as I want to be, you'll get just an email. So yeah, I would love to connect with you either in my email or on Instagram. Thank you for joining me this week, and I will talk to you later.